Greetings again. Again had some problems lately, I guess, with restream. In the same spot, it used to be fine some time back. Now it seems like it's getting worse and worse and cutting out like crazy, which is no good. It's kind of just about worthless if almost every word is getting cut. I'm testing the StreamYard now, which has a monthly limit. That's why I was using the other one. And then the lowest setting is 720 with StreamYard, as far as I know. I can't put it to 480 or lower with the restream. You can put it to 480, which blows less data, less 4G data than 720. For every minute you stream with StreamYard, it blows more data on 720 than 480p on restream. But if it's cutting, it's no good. Looks like it's a bigger picture here. If I do it wide angle, it's probably, yeah, it's almost full screen then, which probably uses more data doing that, maybe. It's pretty annoying though, seeing if it's going to be better. Just a few minutes ago, driving back, a few minutes back, I was driving and it was a full rainbow from one side to the other, the full arc. Like you could see the full thing and it was crystal clear. And then there was a little bit of a double rainbow. You could see that wasn't quite as clear, but the first rainbow was huge. I haven't seen it in a while like that. It was like just about perfect clarity from one side all the way around, like it's arcing, which is an interesting thing all by itself, that it does that. I'll put my rainbow in the sky with a covenant for mankind to the age, forever until. We do read forever for the old covenant too. This will be an everlasting covenant. But something new happened though, which doesn't abolish the first. It's just that mankind can't keep his commandments. The first covenant is like, it's up to man. Go ahead and do it. Those that go by the law, a man shall keep it. If he says something, it's according to his word, you shall keep it. But if he wants to be under the law, saying, I can keep it, you shall keep it. That's what the meaning is, the Father's word there. A man shall live by it. This is not saying not to live by it. It's just saying under the law, there is no hope. It'll be just death and condemnation, a real death, a darkness, and a blinding continually under the law. But under his favor, will actually establish his law, and we won't be blind, condemned in death, but learning and growing under his favor, so we can keep his commandments in the heart the way it was needed to be circumcised in the heart. The new covenant, and we do read new covenant. I've seen this thing with a renewed covenant, and there's like an emphasis people do with it, renewed covenant. It's just like the old covenant being renewed. That's pretty sly with what I'm seeing. You can say that if we understand what the new covenant is and someone's under Messiah, under his favor, denying self. You could say that renewed covenant, I suppose, without any lie, but it's being said slyly to just reenact the old covenant, which is to be under the law, which is to be a carnal person, condemned continually and blind. They're enemies of the Creator that are under the law in this way. Just restarting the old covenant. We don't want to say new covenant because we hate new things and spiritual things, and we hate the true Messiah. Is that why? That's going on a lot everywhere that starts speaking about his commandments. They call it renewed. There's a specific thing I'm talking about here with renewed, very specific. It has nothing to do with new. That's what I'm speaking of. The renewed covenant is the old covenant restarted, renewed to do away with the new covenant. And the Pharisees hated Messiah viciously. Under the first covenant, enemies of the Creator and Messiah. The carnal man is an enemy of the Creator that wants to be under the law, saying he can live by it himself in his own mind and heart, he says. No, he cannot. Therefore, they will be condemned continually, and Messiah doesn't have to accuse anyone. I don't accuse you. You have one who accuses you, Pharisees, under the old covenant, under the law, in this way. And that's Moses accuses you. Messiah doesn't have to do anything. If you can picture two things, under the law, you shall live by it. And they can't live by it because under the law, without the Father's power and Spirit, the man literally can't live by it or understand any of it in his heart. Therefore, it's condemning them constantly. This is why Messiah says, I don't accuse you. But under Messiah's favor, through faith, through belief, Father gives us to actually learn and grow and establish the law in the heart, writing it in the heart in the new covenant. Unlike the old covenant, unlike the renewed covenant, renewing the old covenant. The spirit of anti-Messiah is in those that are under the law in this way, spiritually under the law like this. And they don't have Messiah under his favor, under the new covenant. It takes an immense amount of time and judgment and chastising to start keeping the law as it's meant to be under Messiah. So the amazing thing is there's no condemnation. If we're not keeping it the way we need to, we will if we keep going. We say if because there's, it's a real possibility that someone believes and fall away, but there's an assurance for those that continue. We read, we're not those that fall away or turn back to destruction. But there's a specific thing here with the old command or the first covenant being renewed. I'm seeing something not good, but it could be said out of good too. But I'm seeing there's a bad thing out there that just like renews the old covenant, and there's no further understanding. Speaking of that thing, whatever that is. So there's some right words going on where Christianity has sort of dumped it all, and this renews the covenant. Oh, we were supposed to keep the commandments, but there's a thing to be seen, and it's massive to not be under the law though in this way like it was, but under his favor, married to Messiah, not the law in this way, because we can't keep it. What it really means to keep spiritually the spiritual law in our heart, circumcision, can't do it of self, and under the law is self only. The first covenant is circumcise your heart, Israel, and a natural man can only muster up natural things to sort of look good, but that's not the meaning of any given commandment, just to look like you're good by not murdering. What about the murder in the heart? A man can't do that without the Father's power and Spirit favor. His righteousness keeps that in us, and it's put on Adam and Eve. His righteousness is put on them. Notice only after they're exposed and found hiding in the trees. So there's good news for believers under Messiah in his favor, grace, favor. But not so good news in that there's an exposing to come for those that stayed under the law or just unbeliever, but spiritually they're one. You can be religious and still be under the law, saying something about the commandments and never keeping them in heart, which is wickedness, the wickedness we read of that the Father cares about in his word. The pride, the spiritual pride never is killed, dying, cut off when man does everything himself. He can't do it. And it just needs to be seen. These things need to be seen somewhere. should ask if they don't see it. But when you start seeing it, though, I mean, it's pretty uh, amazing, but it's also pretty, there's bad things to see that people are doing. We also get to see that. You start seeing crafty deception to keep people under the law in this kind of way, getting them from denying self through faith in Messiah. And all along, someone keeps doing things their own way, of themselves, of their own power. The Father will allow someone to be lost and say, okay, you say you can do it. But in reality, the law is condemning that person constantly, because they're spiritually never doing what the law really means in their heart. And that is the heavenly thing, therefore condemned continually. And this condemnation is real. It's not just the word to say condemned. It means they never believe, they never have life and light, and they're not under the liberty of the law. Understanding there is no law against Father's truth, righteousness, love. There's no law against it. The law is for the unrighteous. And there's something to be seen and understood with that phrase that we read, that it's for the unrighteous. There's something that needs to be seen. That's why he's saying that. It doesn't mean his people don't care about his commandments. On the contrary, they're the only ones that care about what they really mean to do in the heart. But when we read that, it's those under the law doing things of self for self and self-power through self-righteousness, pride. They will stay lawless in the heart, and the law is for the unrighteous. But the Father's righteousness put on someone is righteous, and there is no law against this. There's a freedom to be seen that's real, coming out of prison from being condemned constantly under sin, slave to sin. This freedom from being a slave to sin into the law of liberty under his favor, his righteousness put on us. Through growing, all these things one and true, it's all one through growing, through a seed sprouting, growing. The old man is put down more and more in someone's life. It's dying more and more. And then the Father's righteousness is revealed and growing more and more unto the perfect man. That's why we read that, unto the perfect man. The end result of it is forgiveness of sins and perfected. And ultimately perfected in the resurrection. The end result, salvation perfected. But in the meantime, not at that end yet right now. You keep going. Endure to the end, spiritual race, the war. And the apostle gives us some examples that are like worldly, that you can use to get a picture, like a boxing. You box to win, you don't box to lose and beat the air for no reason. Or in a marathon, in a race, if you stop, you don't get the prize. Someone stops in the middle of the race and then they think spiritually, saying, I believe I'm saved. Like many are doing. They think they believe that they're saved like this and it's over. And so what this looks like in the picture is someone stopping in the race and saying, I finished, I got the prize. It's pretty dumb. And that's just for us to see it's dumb. Someone doing it won't see it's dumb, but it's for us to see that's dumb. There's no reality to it. You have to keep going. And then if we stop, then we'll die right now. Start dying. And we won't have finished the race. And there's only judgment and a fearful looking forward to. That's it, starting now. But see, those that are, whoever in this world has doing this, fallen in this way under the law like this, they never believe that about themselves. I guess the Father blinds them so that they can't see the reality, the horror, the spiritual horror and blindness that this is. They can't even see that yet, but they will. It's almost like a mercy, but then this mercy runs out because, in a way, because everyone's going to be exposed eventually. But right now, it's like those that are blind, they don't believe they're blind. Just saying, and those that are deceived continually, that don't have Messiah, they are not believing they're deceived for themselves. It's like this blinding blinds someone to see that they're blind. It's a pretty strong blinding. But for his people, then we start seeing these things, then you're afraid of those things. That happen. Those in death have no contrast to life. Those that have life, there's a real thing to go back to be worried about and not want. Death, in contrast to life. Now, when someone doesn't have life, there is no death to them. What death? What life? Doesn't make sense. There's no reality. There's no spiritual reality for someone that is in continual death, let's say. So be careful. You would go back into death if you start doing this sin or that sin continually. No care or love for it. Doesn't make sense to them. Because how does a dead man become more dead? How does someone in the grave go, uh-oh, I'm dying? Is the reality. They don't see. For those that are alive, though, we don't want to die. And if someone thinks this can't happen, they're denying scripture. We wouldn't read that a branch is broken off and then it dries up and starts dying and then it's burned. Or a seed sprouts and then many, are tested and it withers. Or it's plucked, or it's not in good ground, it dies. See, that's the point. The weeds choke it out. The world and the love and care of the world choke it out. Overcome by the world, the little plant is snuffed out. And that's the life that sprouted. Then that's dying spiritually, dying, losing his ability. And sin will do it. Sin is death. That's that dying. Under his favor, see. To be under his favor is to have like a proper fear of dying because of these realities. Because we actually see it going around everywhere. It's happening. How do we know it won't happen to us? And there's a proper fear. There's only one little narrow way, and it's perfect, and anything less than that is death. And that's like what it ends up being. Oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. Someone might think at some point, I'm supposed to have this proper fear because this is real. Well, this is a good thing, but then that fear is kind of tormenting, a little scary, frightening. But that's the only way. There is no other way. The rest don't have this fear that are dead. There's no fear in their eyes. So then you find out, I have this fear, but then anything else would be death. It's a pretty narrow way, isn't it? Narrow and perfect. He says he'll put his fear in them. And I've had questions or thoughts about this. The Father's fear is put in his people. But this is not the cowardly fear it has, but it's the Father's fear, which is just strange. There's something to it. The Father himself has this like set apart perfect fear. It's not a joke, but it's a little strange coming from not seeing or knowing that at all, and then seeing something about it. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah, those aren't just words to tickle someone. Tickle, tickle. Like there's some kind of real fear the Creator has. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Like if you do something wrong, it's monstrous. It's like such a perfect fear. I don't know, how do you describe that? Like the Creator himself has. Fearful to do something evil or wrong or something like that. So then the intention of the heart is never darkness with the Father, because there's no darkness in him. But it can look like that, and does look like that to mankind that sees the current state of man. How could he do these things? Is he doing evil? And we do read those that are blind, he did that. Those that can't walk, he did that. And if he heals someone, he heals, but we read nevertheless, he did that. I suppose if we saw the other end of everything, but we don't. We can't see what the Creator sees, the end of the other side, if you will, of it all, what it will be. The Creator sees, and I think that's important to know. Because whatever is now is not what stays now. It's not the intention for the Creator right now to stay like now. But see, the carnal man doesn't consider. He doesn't care. He's just ready to accuse the Father of being evil when it's himself that's evil. Everybody's evil except self, right? Sort of pride that needs to die. And then he's shown me everything that we read to do. That's who the Father already is. Prove and test all things. He does that. Resting on the Sabbath. He's already that example. Loving enemies and what this means. He's already that. He's already not a hypocrite. There's not a single thing that we read to do, saying to do, that he isn't doing already. When this is starting to be seen, then these questions arise, and you start questioning what religion has done. Do they not see that they're calling him a hypocrite? This is blasphemy. This is the real blasphemy that's happening. This is what real blasphemy is. Spiritual, heavenly, higher things, blasphemy. They don't realize that, because those questions, before they came up, before he gives you something to see, wasn't there. It's still not there for them. But they're doing it, and they don't know what they do. And they'll defend it bitterly, evil teachings and evil. They will do all that, and yet they can't see what they're doing. They don't see what they're supposed to see, and they're not seeing what they're doing. They're blaspheming the name of the Father is blasphemed because of you. We read in his letters, the apostle there, because of he's blasphemed because of like the Gentiles, or his name is blasphemed towards them because of you people, teaching lies, suppressing truth. This example's given there. And it's true right now. It's amazing. The Father's name is truly being blasphemed among all the nations and Gentiles because of the harlot, ultimately, and the gospel they have to give. Which, when you say gospel, this is good news. But how do you call it gospel even when it's not good news? In reality, it's bad news forever. That man will suffer forever, has no actual hope at all, zero. In reality, someone that suffers forever never had any hope at any point. Wouldn't that be true if the end result is no hope forever? That means there's no hope right now. That's what's being taught, injected, and applied and put into the minds of people already, spiritually leavened inside people. They don't think it's destroying them. It is. It's only causing destruction, nothing good. If that's all someone can see, then they only see darkness and no hope. That might destroy someone. And the Father shows that these things, like man does, they're accountable. It does destroy people, and he more than allows it to happen. It's very real. He allows these real things to be. But in the truth, in reality, the Father's truth, there is a hope for all creation, because the whole creation was subjected in hope for that purpose. teach lies. Creation was subjected to hope. And it's in Genesis, but it's not in Genesis to those that never get truth from above, never given to see what it means with spiritual eyes and ears. This or that scripture in there. It was subjected in hope. Not by the will of man, like we read plain simple words here that they do not like to hear because it goes against their doctrine and tradition. Very simple words. The whole creation was subjected in hope, not by man, not, it was subjected to futility, but also hope through futility. There is no hope without the futility. There's hope because there's a lot of bad things going on, destruction inside people, and even literal destruction. That's why there's hope. If it was perfect already, there wouldn't be hope. If you already saw and had the things to come, then there wouldn't be hope. You would just already have, but these things are connected. But we even read, though, not by man. It wasn't man's like Adam and Eve created this monstrous, huge plan in their mind, and they did it all. And they even foresaw all the people they would hurt. All Adam and Eve's fault. They destroyed billions of people in the future, and they said, you know what, this is a good idea. I like destroying billions of people. So let's sin now after this and put this, That's not what happened. They just got deceived, like everyone did, into sin, sucked into sin, in blindness, in darkness. But then the Creator's plan is working out this, but it wasn't through Adam and Eve, like creating the idea. And no one can say it's all his fault because they themselves sinned. They can't say they never sinned. Each person actually sinned. But it might sound a little like Adam did it all when we kind of read it. Because of Adam, sin spread. And wages of sin is death from Adam to the present time. But each person sinned. Each individual sinned. It wasn't just handed over like that, like someone didn't sin and now they're condemned as a sinner because of Adam long ago, but they didn't sin. No, they themselves sinned. And that's what spread. Each person in the likeness of Adam, carnal, weak, they sin, easily deceived. But I thought Adam was made in the image of the Creator, and now man is made in the likeness of Adam, which should be the image of the Creator. Stumbling blocks for religion to trip over because they never ask what it means. What if there's an authority from above, the Father himself, that says, this is what my word means? And when we get that meaning, that is the meaning. What man says doesn't matter if it's contradicting why, It's there to it's truth for us to learn, while it's a stumbling stone for those that don't know him. They will stumble. It's that all at the same time somehow. It's truth and it's a stumbling stone. It's a rock for salvation or a rock of offense. Taking severe offense, tripping over and being crushed by the rock instead of building on it. One or the other. Somehow it's all one. His word is like that everywhere. It's either for us truth, a rock in a good way, or a stumbling stone to fall, so that they fall and can be judged. We read that plainly. It's like, this is why. It's not there on accident. It's there so that those that hate him fall. It's offensive, no, to the world. And we read it plainly, and those plain scriptures can't be denied. If we were to grab them right now and read them, you connect a little bit of spiritual meaning, and then you read the verse. All of a sudden, the person never believed that verse, did they? that's against him. He hands people over to their sins, so fear the Creator, because he'll hand us over to our sins. Oh, it's what you want. You won't be able to stop now. You get worse and worse and worse and worse, because I need to show you that you're weak and nothing, and that wasn't a good way, so that you can see that his way is good and perfect, so that you actually want it without any fakery. That's what all mankind will find out. They will already have experienced the wide gateway and seen its destruction. But it's like happening. We're in the middle of it, happening still. Was, is to come. And the things to come haven't come yet. Those that say they do a lot of damage. They contradict all his word, and they lie and blaspheme the name. They don't even realize how that it destroys everything when they say the things to come has already come. Specifically, the things to come in the age to come, that this is the age already. They have no clue what they're doing. The Father shows you how this is monstrous and what it's contradicting. Then, someone will see how monstrous it is. They imply so many things. The secret spiritual leaven and doctrine is the only thing I see when I see a lie. This is what they're really saying, and that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else, a lie that the liar's saying. This is what they really say, because that's reality, and that's the only reality. That's what it ends up being. But they'll never acknowledge that. But that's for us to see. That's the reality we need to see. That is their works. That's what they prove and say and do, even though they'll never acknowledge it. As long as they're in that condition, lying and in death, they're going to support the lie. They twist the scriptures to their own destruction, a real spiritual destruction, and do it to their own destruction. Never able to say that we didn't do it to our own destruction. No one's going to be able to say that. Each monstrous lie, there's probably could spend hours speaking about all the connections and what it does damage, but the carnal crowds won't see any of it. It'll be worthless to them. You have to see the spiritual things to see the damage it's doing. If you don't see anything, then it's no proof what we say to them in their own mind and heart. That's a difficult thing to see constantly. But there's no care. That's how those that continue to do this, what's also true is there's no actual love or care in the heart for his word or anything that's good and true. They don't care. Oh, there's thousands of contradictions. I'll just say, no, there's not. But there's no care in reality. There's no care. Do they see what it does to teach hell as it's taught? There's no care. Otherwise, if they cared for real, they wouldn't be doing it. Zero care. Who cares? Let me go back to the world. Nope, there has to be a hell. Goodbye. You try to get through to someone, and that's how it ends up. Whether speaking or texting or whatever, the Father gives you something to do. Oh, yeah, you're trash. Sorry, hell's real. They never answer questions. They never look at the contradictions, nothing. They just, hell's real, too bad. And then go back into the world, going back to your business and make more money. Talking about people that say they believe doing this. They don't care. They will. They'll wish they listened to all the prophets that were sent to them that got stoned. But now the stoning is not to be seen literally, although, murder is murder, but the murder's in the heart. Someone says, I hate that person. That's what they're saying inside. And they murder you, go away from you, and they could care less about you, literally forever, ever again. You die, who cares? That's a literal spiritual murder. We can't do that. Can't even do that for the enemy. I mean, that's mostly what it is enemies. There's not that many believers ever. Millions and billions of believers. That's a work of the Creator himself. Man doesn't do that work. Enemy does you wrong. Mankind can't do what's good. The true way back to someone that does you wrong. Even though they're under the law and under the renewed or first covenant they put themselves under. And they never stop cursing the enemy and hating the enemy that does them wrong in their own heart. Therefore, they are murderers, because the higher thing is, you shall not murder. It never meant what carnal man thinks it means. That's the lower thing. That's the earthly thing. So if you break the heavenly thing, it says up in the heavens, it says murderer. It doesn't matter if they don't murder someone literally. They're a murderer to the Creator. That is the murder. That is the real murder. And then for lying, the real lying above that needs to be given and to do. Learn. Stop lying. That's the real lying. Doesn't matter if this carnal man thinks he stopped lying carnally. He doesn't know what it is yet. Lying all the time. We're learning to stop lying. Yeah. Through mistakes. Needing to be perfected. How does someone get perfected without ever making a mistake in our heart, When that happens, that's the opportunity for it to be seen, learn something, and then cut off the old man a little bit so he doesn't lie the same way. That's what the reality is. Otherwise, we would never stop. Cut off these aren't worthless words. Messiah is saying, cut off the hand, pluck out the eyes that causes sin. Offense. That's how he gets us to stop doing sin, is cutting off that old man that's reckoned as dead. It's not counted for righteous. It's not counted for his works. He only sees what Messiah did and what will become of us, that are believers that continue to the end. He sees the end result, but now there's work to be done. Now there's destroying and cutting off the old man bit by bit to get to the end. It's not done any other way. The old man is the offense. The old man is the sinner. The old man is the enemy of the Creator. It needs to die, or else it'll never stop sinning. This is highly, extremely, extraordinarily offensive, what this really is and means to all mankind that doesn't believe yet. They themselves are the enemy of the Creator, but they don't see it yet. They're holding on to their soul, their life. And by holding on to your soul, you're being destroyed anyways. Birds are pecking the dead anyways. Hand them over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh. You're going to be dying anyways, meaning without the Father's life, someone's just going to go into darkness more and more. They're dying. Might as well die and live. Might as well, while we're dying, the old man, but being alive. But those who hold on to the old man, they're dying anyways. And they're going into destruction. Because that old man needs to die. That's the wicked being destroyed at the end. He needs to die anyways. There's no other way. There's only two ways. Die or die. One is a better way. The Messiah says this is the better way. We could read that word better. The narrow way is the better way. Start dying now so we could live. While you get chopped up and cut up and destroyed, you can be alive while that's happening. Or you can say, I'm holding on to self and it gets chopped up and destroyed, and there is no other life. That person is dying within. He's getting chopped up and eaten by the birds, foul spirit, though. He's being destroyed anyways. But as long as he says, I'm good, I'm strong, I love myself, and a bird pecks him and, eats him up, I'm trying to give the picture of this destruction, spiritual destruction, though. He's getting killed, he's dying spiritually. It looks, the natural picture's never exactly like the spiritual. So in a way, it's not perfect, and yet it is perfect in that that's the picture. But spiritually, see, he's going into darkness. He's getting harder and harder. He's going into more death. He's more resistant, more stubborn, more hardened, more stiff-necked. He's more confused. He's more death. He commits more actual, real sin in the heart than 20 years earlier. He's dying. Anyways. So like the Creator gives us a heart of like desperation, but then we have to see many not believe, though. Thank you. This is fun. This is fun. Like ambassadors for him, saying, please believe. You're dying. You're dying anyways. Believe. But then we know that they need mercy. But if we never do anything, then we'll be the wicked and lazy servant and in death. Oh, there's no way around his narrow way. I dare someone to try. And when the Father gives truth, there is no way around it. Oh, you want to be late? Oh, that means we could do whatever we want, since the Father's the one doing the mercy and we don't actually do the increase. Okay? Enter death. Because the wicked and lazy servants cast out is unprofitable and worthless. Okay, you say that's who the Father is, huh? That he's weird and doesn't care like this, that he's playing games. He doesn't reap where he sows. Now that's you become your reality, carnal man. Now that's your reality. Face it. You say so, now eat it. Cain says it's unbearable. Too bad. You said the Creator's unbearable. You don't want to do what's right? Now face the unbearable judgment of misery, death, sorrow, and sadness for the rest of your life. And it'll get worse, by the way, which means you have to masquerade and sin more, because more fakery is more sin. At 70-year-old, you have to masquerade even more than you did at 40. Face it. Eat the judgment now. This is pretty stern to the Creator. No one messes with him, plays games with him like that. And if we say, well, I'm not going to say anything or do anything good, since the Father's the one doing the mercy, and so often doing it through people, though, through his people, that's part of the plan. An amazing thing. Then, for that person, he'll be cut off. Then he won't do the Creator's works. You say it doesn't do anything. For them, it becomes the reality. Then they never do anything. Then they die. They don't do anything. I know it's like a contrast of this or that, but it's only to bring out this truth. It's not like that in reality, where it's like, oh, dead, alive, dead, alive. That's the best I could. It's an example but this is true. But it's an example that's exaggerating a little bit the dark and light, the good and evil. But it will be true if that's what someone does in their heart. There's no excuse like man could create. It's in his word somewhere. It needs to be given, but it's there. What else can man do? What kind of excuse can he make? I don't know, quite a bit. Many excuses. If everyone's going to be saved, why want good for everyone? That's going to be saved anyways. They're speaking out of not knowing who the Father is. And no one is saved without dying to who and what they are, a destruction, a judgment. It reveals their heart, that they don't care about people. They don't care about their destruction. They don't care about the future. They don't care about that many will be tortured forever and ever, and that's loving our neighbor forever. That's how you love your neighbor forever. Watch people burn forever. We'll know about it, won't we? Those that make it. Those that make it, won't they know that the many didn't and they're suffering somewhere? And the Father says, remember the scripture about love your neighbor as yourself? Gotcha, mother effer. Man, that frightens me if that was the reality. That would frighten me. Stiff, it would be better never to be born. It's not the truth, though. The Father is a loving Father that doesn't play games or lie, cheat, steal, trick people. Although if we trick, we'll get tricked. But he's not that. Can someone see how he's not that? While he deceives the false prophet, because he's deceiving. He himself will be deceived. Sent delusions to get lost even more. Now you have to go murder more people. Oh, it's going to be real bad when what you see, what you did at the end, false prophet. You were handed over to your lust, and now instead of 100 people, you kept going for the next 40 years, and it was millions that you led into destruction. Man. That should give someone some kind of fear that we don't want to do that. And everything is seen through the Father being a sovereign, the sovereign creator and judge and king. Everything is seen through some kind of understanding of his sovereignty. It's not man as God. As soon as man is God, everything that he talks about is false because it's not seen through the creator being the creator. If someone stands up in the heavens as God with that free will, that pride, everything he talks about is corrupt because that's a false thing right from where it speaks. It's false. It's pride standing right there. It needs to speak from the creator being the sovereign creator and in power and in control. And face it, mankind, you're the creation, not the creator. You're the potter. I mean, you're the clay, not the potter. Man wants to be the potter so bad through pride. He can go up through pride, but he's coming down. Just know that they're coming down. All that are prideful will be humbled, and all that are humbled will be lifted up the true way without pride. You would be lifted up if you went through the narrow way and went humble. You would get this lifting up. But if you go and lift you up the fake masquerade, lifting up through pride, you're going down. You would get the good thing. Just deny yourself. No, I don't want to. I'm God. You know, that's what the heart's doing inside. No, it can't be. I see this fear, cowardly fear. I feel sorry for people, but they really do tremble with a cowardly fear towards the creator being the creator and the sovereign king and judge of the earth, giving it all through Messiah. But he is. They don't want to face reality. They want to be in a delusion. They want to go back to the world, Egypt, and be in a delusion, thinking that the food that they give them is good. They don't care about them. Egypt doesn't care about the Israelites there. They're just doing stuff so they can get some kind of good money. What's good to them? You work for us, and the only reason we need you cows and you pigs is so we get some kind of carnal gain out of you. Yeah, okay. Why do we feed these people? So that they can work for us and get us money. Come on, Israel, can't you see that the food they give you, let us go and be filled over there, was corruption and no good, fake? It's not even real. It's garbage. The only reason they're feeding you is so that they can get fed instead of serving. They want to be served. And the only reason they need you is to make them more money. And maybe when they find a way not to need as many people, the devil will just kill a bunch of people Billions. I don't know. You know, I mean, as soon as something breaks out, that's what wrath is. Strong judgment. The devil has it on his commandments in the Georgia Guidestones. What is it, 500 million people? If that's not the right number, I mean, it's compared to whatever the population is, it's very little. That means a lot of people have to die to maintain peace and stability for creation. This is for your good, you idiots. You have to die. Vote for Hitler. You 5,000 people down there, you need to die for our good. And then they get deceived and go, yeah, this is an honorable thing. Let me kill myself. This is wicked. That's like pretty much the spiritual deception that's happening that the false prophets do. Getting them to believe that their own death is good so that it raises them up. Has anyone else seen this through their jobs? That they never cared at all? They just only do it because they have to. Because if they didn't feed you and didn't pay you a little bit, they would never make any money off of your back, right? Zero. And when you see that that's why that's being done, it's a pretty sick, cruel world then. Ooh, it's real dark. That's the only reason and intention from the heart. Does it look like that? No. The image of the beast says no, it's not like that. We got to create images that are not real so that we can do the wicked thing in our heart. And everyone will buy the image of the beast and say, that's what this is. The politics is real. The divisions are real. They're not delusions and confusions from judgment, from sin. They mean something, and the image is valuable. No, it's not. It's no good. Now, if that's what someone wants, then let the filthy be filthy. You know, okay, have your image, enjoy it. You'll find out. People want fake. It's a fake world. They want fake. They like fake. And they like fake things and Star Trek, you know. I'm speaking about the heart, not whether someone should watch Star Trek or not. Speaking about the heart. Their heart wants fake delusions. You know, it's not real. Because real, whatever real is the creator exists. And we're in a lot of sin. That's real. Facing that is torment. So now we're forced to cover it and hide it. And we can't bear our own thoughts when we're against the creator. You can't even sit still for 5 minutes with quietness, you know. Is this literally mean nobody ever sits still for a literal 5 minutes? No. Because I see the attackers already. I do yoga. I do Buddha, like meditative. You're a liar. Are they sure we lie? Are they sure that the storms inside of them are actually calm for 5 minutes with a lot of sin? Okay. You know, anybody can pretend for 5 minutes, for half an hour. The only way to stop the storm is Jonah has to go overboard. The carnal man needs to drown. There's no stopping of the storm. Death, destruction, the whirlwind of the creator. Mighty, furious judgment for sin. It's like a tornado comes and destroys everything. Yeah, but that tornado's inside people. And they say something like this with carnal wisdom. Meditation is so that you calm the storms. It doesn't work. Just acknowledge it already, and then they would be healed. But they keep saying it works, and then they'll never be healed. They believe a lie because the creator's judgment's so strong that he gets people to believe a lie so that they believe a lie and are judged. The apostle knows about it. The disciples know, Messiah knows. His people know. If they want to believe a lie so bad, they will. The Father more than makes it happen, more than makes the prodigal son get lost. Get lost. You'll find out. You'll wake up and see one day that this was good here, not that over there. Eating pig food, becoming desperate in this situation, this death. Messiah commands the storms to stop. It's those that are under his favor, that are seeing what sin is, and we repent. See the sin, repent, ask for forgiveness. They command the storms to stop. Only going through that way, and not because carnal or because man goes, stop, I'm God. And like you're in still a lot of sin, not repenting. Stop, I'm God, and it's not working. Yeah, he commands the storms to stop through being obedient to the Creator, the Father. Because he's not running from the Father. Messiah is in obedience, and Jonah's not. What perfect picture of what's happening spiritually. The real things are spiritual. And the Father's the fisherman. He gets a fish and catches Jonah. Now the Messiah says, let me teach you to be fishers of men, because that's what the Father is. He fishes for men. Couldn't be more literal. Literal fish catching him and spitting him back out, representing a new man, but in reality, Messiah didn't come yet, though. The teaching's there. And Jonah, even though it's very short, he's waiting and disappointed that the city's not destroyed. You know, it's a good lesson spiritually. Man wants destruction on others. He's excited to see it. We're talking about real destruction, not with words and images and stuff. His heart is that. And Jonah's very disappointed when Nineveh repents, because his thoughts are not the Creator's thoughts, and he's disappointed, sad. Well, that doesn't mean we'll never do that. It means, okay, now stop doing that. Learn your lesson continually. Don't want destruction for people with the heart, because that's not who the Father is. The tree comes up and gives it shade, and he didn't work for it. And the tree goes down, and there's no more shade. And now he's complaining. You didn't complain when it came up, did you? Now you complain when it comes down. You didn't complain when I gave you what you didn't even work for. But now you complain when what you didn't work for goes down. Is someone seeing how you literally can't complain either way, that this is real? Although it's hard to see, impossible to see at first. And then you see a little bit more, and then you see a little more, and then the two become one eventually. That's the goal. It goes up, it goes down. Just as much accepted going down as it goes up. Now, who is doing that? Who's actually doing that with their heart in this world? I know there's a few learning, but many aren't. Their works prove it. Thoughts and intentions of the heart and the works prove it. The many are not caring to do that at all. The Creator gives, even carnal man thinks, and then he might take it away. Now the carnal man's cursing and complaining and cussing out the Creator. But they were given first, and there was no thanks. And then when they're taken away, lots of rage. Not considering sin either. Gave that while there was a lot of sin. Gave you a lot of things while you sinned a lot. Doing a lot of things. seems that the Father's been doing this thing where he makes a lot of people really rich and have nice carnal things to prove the point. Lots of nice, rich things, you know. In the church world, we read the scripture. When you get nice houses and very nice things, don't forget, you know, like turn away and forget the truth. That's what happened. Living the reality of many people having their very many nice things, especially today. And there's death inside. You know, you have to try to hide because now you have an image to prove. I'm a religious person. Now I have to look a certain way. That's slavery. To never be what you are and never do the actual good thing out of the heart. It's slavery. Spiritual slavery. Sin. I guess I gotta go. I didn't know this video would be that. Okay, place. I'm just gonna do a test to make sure the quality's a little better. Cutting out on the last StreamYard or restream. Yeah, it seems like every day it feels like a stranger in the land even more and more. I wonder what the perfect thing is. Like one day you just realize, I'm an alien. What am I doing here? I feel like that might happen at some point. But then it happens more. Then it happens more. And then it happens more. Where's the end of it? How much of an alien does someone need to be till it's good enough? What he teaches people, you're strangers in the land first. You can't ever say anything against strangers without being a hypocrite. You could do it, but then you'd be in a lot of sin and hypocrisy and then be judged for it. You can't say it in reality, though, without hypocrisy. It is a good thing, though, to die to self-righteousness. Very good. Amazing thing. There's a real freedom. And we're not talking about freedom for sin, freedom to sin, but there's a real freedom for sin. Real. It's a freedom to not do things out of self-righteousness, steaming with pride, wrath, anger, always comparing with others, you know, like all this stuff. Freedom stuff to start, you know, overcoming that. Stop lying, lying to cover lies, and then lying more to cover more lies. Man's doing it more than he realizes. You ask someone a question, and if it touches their image just a little bit, they didn't give you the truth, twisted it a little bit, even a little bit is a lie. Yeah, there's a freedom to start doing it. It's right. When you actually answer truthfully out of the Spirit of the Father in you, you know, they might as well fall backwards like the Roman soldiers. Here I am, take me. They fall backwards. That's how cowardly he is. Carnal man is a coward. He needs to learn. Because why does this happen? This is amazing. He's shown me this thing falling backwards. It's because the Father's in the Messiah with power, without fear for evil, without confusion, without lying, saying the truth, and they fall backwards because of it. They've never seen that a day in their life, ever, not even once, ever, ever. And we know that because Messiah is the firstborn of the dead. But I mean, in the world where there's never too many believers for other people, it might be the only time, you know, pretty important what you say to them if they ask. They see something and they fall backwards. But it's not literally about falling backwards, but they might as well have fallen backwards. When I've seen the expression sometimes, their heart skipped a few times just for doing something simple. It didn't even cross the mind to do it for that intention. And then why did that happen? Oh, that's why that happened. Wow. That's a lot of hiding people are doing, hiding all kinds of things. He hides that he's fearful, cowardly by looking strong carnally. That's an image, not real. This image is created to hide actual fear and the bad fear and cowardly fear. An image is created to be bought by others that someone sells. And when you don't buy their image, which is just walking in the spirit, not even having to try to do anything, you just see the person for who they are, and that's it. They see that transaction canceled, 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 canceled. He's not buying my image, but you're not even trying. They see something and it bothers them when you don't buy their image. They want you to believe and see something, an image about them. When you don't buy it, they've never seen it before, likely, unless they've seen another believer. That's a light shining. They've never seen it. It's like you're seeing through them, but there's no intention to see through. You just know what the Father's taught you and you see, but that light is real. It's exposing darkness. And no one can ever take away the picture. A light literally exposes things hiding in the dark. Saying this is a real spiritual reality. If someone's a light, they will just, by being a light, just by walking around, it's showing your good works, Father's good works in us, Messiah in us. So let your light shine. Well, that doesn't mean only you walk around, never say anything. It's just that it's true that's already good, because everyone else walking in darkness, full of anger, wrath, pride, walking down the street with pride and anger and evil thoughts and perversions in their mind. They see a light that's not going on in there. It's a light. They don't know what it is. It's crazy. Crazy reality. Crazy in a good way, but it is crazy. The world's crazy blind. So what do I see works to prove this image being spotted, seen through? Thank you. Thank you. Said thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Seen it. And then I've seen, are you sure? 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 Why do people do that? They'll do it even with anybody else. I'm not saying that won't happen, but it's like a strong image. Man, it's so sick. It's in slavery. It's not good. The spirit of man is in prison to be doing that, to project an image so strong, to make itself look good and make the other one look real bad, because that person says, it's okay, you could go in front of me. You could go first. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Now I'm going to really trash this person. I'm going to make sure there's no good in there at all. By saying, are you sure 7 times, will make that person look evil and unpatient inside, with wrath inside. They're only doing that for an image, while the person doing that is projecting the image. They're both, crazy. It's called hypocrisy. There's so many things like that happening all the time, but the world never saw. That's blind. There's patterns that happen and people just sort of get used to, and like, oh, that's what, oh no, there's a reason it's happening. And it's not the reason the carnal man says it's happening. Who believes this though? See how no one would believe it save those that are of Messiah, save those that are seeing and learning. No one else will believe it. It's insanity to them. 50,000 people in darkness will get together, though they're divided, to throw down one light bulb, because it exposes all 50,000. And we have the scriptures for it, that they get together in the dark and do these things in the dark. Yeah, even literally going in meetings on how to destroy someone. It's a real blinding when someone does those works. They don't even realize that they got together. in a meeting. It's so blind it doesn't even realize it did that. If something was said about it, it's strictly denial. That's how they got rid of me on my last job. I had to go away finally because they wouldn't stop. They got together in meetings. The father like showed me just enough of what was going on, like so I wasn't clueless. And then I say something out of truth. The only thing I know to do is not speak lies. It's not what I want to do. And there's just nothing but denial. That's it. And you just let it be. No, it can't be us. It can't be us. It can't be us. It can't be me. It can't be me. No, that's not me. They dump their sins on you. They dump that you're a thief. They dump that you're fearful and cowardly because they are. The Creator's judgments are so strong. They must fear the Creator because of how strong they are. You will be blinded if you do an evil work. We will be blinded in that moment while doing it. Blinded. When someone grabs their own tools and puts it in another person's box and then says, please check your box. I'm looking for tools. That's already a lie. No big deal. That's not a lie to the person doing it. Then you find the tools and it's not yours and you didn't take them. Then they smirk because the devil says, you're a thief, gotcha. And they walk away believing a lie that you're a thief and it's real. And I've seen it face to face. Man literally believes that they made you look like a thief and therefore you are. Literally, can't be more serious. They literally believe that worked. That's crazy. How can't the world see that's stupid, that's evil. It doesn't work. That proves someone's a thief by putting your own tools in someone else's box and finding them there. What else does mankind do that's similar to that? And then the Father shows me this has been in the movies all along, all the time, and you never knew what it was. It's just sort of like bad guys being bad or kids being kids. Well, it kind of is true, kids. Carnal, it's like a child. And then when you see why it's happening and what it means and what it is and why it's being done, I mean, whoa. People think that's normal, like in a good way, like, oh yeah, that's just what happened. No, this is some evil. The one doing it in their heart is raging with hatred. You can't do that work without raging hatred, hoping the person dies, but you can't really kill them. There's people around the job. Plus, they would probably find out. And what about DNA and hair and all this stuff? And so someone has to live in slavery, doing the best they can to do evil without killing you. It's that bad. Some less, some more works. But when you do an evil work like that towards someone with those intentions, like to make someone look like a thief, that's raging hatred and murder inside someone's heart. You cannot do that work without hatred and murder in the heart. Then the person walks away, people walk away believing they're good for doing evil, that they're right and good, and they made you look like the thief and the murderer and the liar. They believed all that was good, and there wasn't a single drop of good in it. It's pretty scary to me. And the Father shows us things, shows us these things, that it's true, not just every once in a while, it's happening everywhere. All right, I better start going now. Doesn't seem to me there's very many people that care about what sin is. That's just astonishing to me. I don't know anything else. Like looking, and I'm not seeing. Not seeing anything. We're not going to prove him wrong. It's never going to be many called, many chosen, right? So we don't even look for many because you just believe the Creator's word. Yes, there's not many. I'm not going to try to prove him wrong. So he's already proven too many things too many times that he's right. Whatever it says is true. And sadly, it's worse at the end of the age than it is 100 years earlier, that's the picture we have. The Messiah is talking about the end of this age. It will be something like Noah's day. Who believes it? Frightening. Who believes that there's less and less and less while they're projecting there's more and more and more people that believe in God that are being saved, millions every day or every few months or years or whatever, however many. Makes me want to faint. Makes us look evil just for speaking truth. Makes us look like all those works are lies and no good when we say there's not many. Doesn't it make us look evil? Yeah, we've been set up. Deal with it. Too bad. Your name's going to get trashed. You'll be thought of as evil, definitely. And then that'll grow. It'll grow worse. Because a small, tiny light doesn't expose much, so then the light gets bigger. It exposes more. It'll cause more tribulation. But then He will make us bigger to handle it. And at the end of someone's life, whatever that looks like in Messiah, they will have been an insane person, utterly insane, doing what the world does not and cannot do. The more you grow, the more insane you become, the more offensive you become. It's insane to the world. Insane. A freak, an alien from outer space, as they say. Maybe that's why we read that word. Might as well be an alien from outer space. What is that thing? Creature. Whatever that light is, I don't like it. I never believed in it. Yeah, well, I don't see it around here. It must be bad. Yeah, it's bad. Kill it. There's some hard scriptures to believe in. Now I'm seeing and believing them when we read. You stoned all the prophets that were ever sent to you. You're the guilty of all the bloodshed that ever to his people. All of it. And we read it again in Revelation. Guilty of all the bloodshed of the saints. Now, that doesn't mean one person literally did that to all people during a whole age. But what this means is unbelievers, the harlot, anyone unbeliever, they have always done this, and they did it to all his people. Can someone see it? And they're guilty of all the bloodshed. And we read they don't care. Kill Messiah, they don't care. It's going to go on this generation. Kill them anyways. I don't care. They didn't care. Blinded when you're doing evil. You don't even. Yeah, no big deal. Huge thing. Huge thing. Yeah, who cares? Kill them. Who cares? We really literally read that. They didn't care. It's like you're focused on evil and someone's saying something. Yeah. Shut up. And then you go back to the evil thing. That's like what was happening when they were wanting him dead. Man. All those scriptures about the Father protecting his people, worthless to unbelievers. They don't need his protection. They're the enemies that attack his people. What protection? Creator doesn't protect that. But his people need the protection because they're spiritually trying to snuff your life out, which is the Father's life. But to whoever has been given, it's theirs in a way that it's understood that it was given. It's not ours from us. And that's a simple understanding to me now, although there's some that don't understand that understanding, and they think the apostle saying it's my gospel from a selfish, prideful, only understanding man has. He's saying my gospel, it must be his alone. The more spiritual someone becomes in Messiah, man, the more offensive and crazy they become in this world. You start being able to say things because we see only truth. You can say things out of truth, and that's the only thing we see. The other thing is like dying. But then you have to remember, oh, that's what they see. And then you have to explain and say, I don't mean this, but I mean this, and I don't mean this, and I mean that. And that happens more and more. Difficult. The apostle is accused, by a lot. I wish I wouldn't see it, but it needs to be. It just is. Lawless or something. Doing a lot of people, I guess. Don't they know? Come on. People see, believed his people was nothing new there. If someone actually has that in their heart about one actual believer, they will about all of them. They saw that man in real life, it wouldn't just hate him, they would hate all his people. Can't see that, I guess. And everyone hates Messiah. That's not of him. They all hate him. Even though there was some that would believe when the Spirit was poured out. But the point is, anyone that's not of him hates Messiah. That even the people proclaiming the law, Pharisees, all hated him. Talk about a lot of enemies. It's a strange thing the Father's done. Yes, David's a bloody man. The Father calls him a bloody man. And it's like, wow, his power is serious power. The people at the time didn't know what sin is. This is extraordinarily offensive to religion, obviously. How can they hear these words? And yet it's a teaching. Something true about Messiah having a lot of enemies, and he will fight with his sword, and the spiritual judgment of what that natural thing looks like. But doing the natural thing is wicked. But the Father sort of just winked at sin in this way. The apostle knows. That's why we read it. Never accepting it, it just wasn't revealed. It's like utter proof that the carnal man, there is no greater proof I can think of. That is like the most monstrous, in a good way, huge proof that man is no good himself. He believes killing for God is good. In his heart, it's hidden in there for the Creator. He's proving that they were carnal, Israel, and these are all things that were true but natural first. But they mean something spiritually for us because it's a spiritual war. And the bloodbath is real. The blood we see now is spiritual murder. That's blood. The Messiah's fighting with his sword. People that mess with him. His people, they mess with him. And it'll be a destruction, a righteous judgment. But what does that look like naturally without the spiritual reality being yet? It looks like someone getting cut up by a literal sword to their death. You know, there's a confusion that's never dealt with in the church world. I tell you now, love your enemies. Well, I better stop right here and get this thing because then I'll keep going forever. They're not learning. They err, like Messiah says, you greatly err. You misunderstand the scripture and the power of the Creator, he also says. They think they know what it means, and Messiah's going back to what people think but now the real things have arrived, and now everyone will be judged, and it's being revealed, self-righteousness. For every little sin in the heart, someone's being judged by the Father in heaven and Messiah. Seeing every little sin while man covers himself, thinking that no one sees. So then there's a lot to learn. Tons to learn. It wasn't their fault in this way, because the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of the Father. Riches to him is only worldly, which is now manifested, revealed for us, his people. Those riches represent and mean something. But back then, that's what riches are to a carnal man. Literal riches, worldly, low, not seeking the kingdom. See, now that it was revealed, to love those kind of riches, worldly, carnal, is to be carnal, proving it. All right, I gotta go. Peace, take care, seek truth from above.